Hey folks, how are you? This is PJ, or Presley Dambaugh, or however you want to address me. I am sorry for last night's video. Both Facebook and YouTube blocked them just because of that 2 minute song that we played last night. But we got it off of YouTube, or we get it off of Facebook, and they still do this crap. So I'm not going to stop doing until the police comes up in here and says, well, you need to stop that. It's not going to happen until then. Developing your friendship with God. He offers his friendship to the godly. That was Proverbs 3:32. Draw close to God, and God will draw you close. God will draw close to you. That's James 4:8. So, this is a continuation of chapter 11. As they said, they were going to continue with the three next ways to develop your closeness to God. Again, this is The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. It's been one of those days. Wow. Thank you. Chapter 12, Developing Your Friendship with God. When you are close to God, God will, as you chose to be. Like any friendship, you must work at developing your own friendship, like friendships that you must work to develop a friendship with God. Now, just that sentence right there, I'm going to go back 4 hours or 3 hours. There's a book, a crown book, if you would please. By the way, my cousin, my brother in Christ, there's a brown book. It says, it's, hold on, I'll go get it. Come here and hold this open so I don't lose it. Okay, Jen, I don't know where it's at. I'll find it. But anyways, a couple of hours ago, I was teaching. This is a good reason why. couple of hours ago, I had done a devotional, and I want y'all to see that this is a continuation, and it's been going on out of 2 books. It's going pretty much the same way. The one was earlier about trusting God and not to fear Him. Because if we fear Him, then we don't know how. We are more to tend to make a mistake because of the idea of Him being feared. He doesn't want you to fear Him. Okay, just like He's trying, in this book, He's trying to show us how we need to be develop our friendship with God. The other one was about fear, and I can't pull it up because one of my services need to be logged into. I don't understand that, but they're working on every other one, but except for that one. So you are close to God as you chose to be. Like for any friendship, you must work at your development of your friendship with God. Okay, when you gotta develop your own style, however you want to call it, your friendship with God. It's if you don't have a development, or you don't develop a friendship with Him and feel the love that He wants to give you, and He don't feel love against you, then that's where it's going to fall apart. Just like any friendship and any relationship, it has to be 50-50. Because if it's not, then the trouble rises to a point to where it usually splits, and one person goes one way and one person goes the other way. And then there's nothing settled between them. There's just, could be hate, it could be frustration about a couple of different other things. And then when they do develop or try to get together, then there's attempt thing that it might not be as good as it's supposed to be. And that includes God. A relationship between God and us is important for the simple reason that He created us. He can take us out in any moment. Think about it. I don't want to be in that spot. And I know pretty much a lot of people out there don't want to be in that spot. Like any other friendship, you must work to develop your friendship with God. It won't happen by accident. Okay, I want to tell you again, like I said earlier today, if you do to develop a relationship with God, there is so many things that you have to do to get there. The first step, number 1, is to come to Jesus. And I explained in the first video again what was what's the steps. I apologize, I'm distracted. Things happened a little while ago and it's got me distracted, and I apologize. Desire and time and energy. Oh, that's a good point. That's where it was. It takes work. After you get say your prayer of redemption, and again, you don't have to go to church. You don't have to go to Bible study Or you don't have to go to anywhere but your living room and you can save yourself. Yeah, you can. For the simple reason is God knows where you're at all the time. You can fellowship, you can worship. Well, you're worshiping, I'm going to tell you, when you start worshiping, that's the first point where you're in your relationship with the Lord, is you're coming to the Lord. Do you have to get baptized? I didn't see in the Bible where it didn't say that. But when I baptized somebody here and I brought them to the Lord, I did it all in my house. This is my church. So, and this is how I'm getting the information out to y'all. If you want a deeper, more intimate connection with God, you must learn to be honest, share your feelings with Him, trust Him when asked to do something, learn to care about what He cares about and desires His friendship. Do me a favor. Pop up my Facebook on there. Okay. If you want to be deeper and more intimate with God, you must learn to be honest and share your feelings with Him and trust Him to do something. Learn to care about what He cares about and desires in His friendship than anything else. Can you see me live? Okay. Now, back out of that and go into further. Sorry, people. Go into Christ outreach. Because somewhere we're not posting. See if we're live. Okay. Just want to make sure because something felt like it wasn't right. But anyway, I must choose to be honest. You choose to be honest?
Yeah.
Are you honest?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you got to be honest with yourself. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know when you're honest, be honest to God. Honest to God. You know how everybody uses that phrase?
Yep.
But they don't actually mean it. Because I've seen many people, especially around here where I live, honest to God. Okay. I'll take a minute to decide if I believe what they're saying. I must choose to be honest with God. I am. I'm brutally honest. If you don't want the truth, don't ask me. Because more than likely, you will walk away upset. And again, I'm brutally honest. Most people choose to walk away, and I don't have God, because I got God right there. He's always brutally honest with me, so go right into that effect sound. He can be brutally honest with me, and He does. He will tell me, and if I don't do what I'm supposed to be doing, things are going to get tougher. I must choose to be honest. Building the first block of the deeper friendship with God is complete in honesty about your faults, your feelings. Are you good with your faults?
No.
Why not? You're honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Are you honest with your thoughts? No. Right? Your feelings, I'm sorry, your feelings. Do you, let me put it this way. God feels what you feel. God knows what you're doing, even behind closed doors. You could be weeping, you could be crying, you could be doing anything, but God's there. What we're trying to do now is to develop yourself, and then it's not being pushed on you. You can just listen. But when you feel like you need something, like today, I was ranting and raving about it. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest. If you want to really want God into your heart, you got to be 100% truthful with Him. Okay? Because it's important that we be honest with God, because He knows everything anyways. You can't lie to Him without Him knowing it. So you got to be honest with your feelings. You got to be honest with everything. You got to be cool. Slide. Do the electric slide. But anyways, and you want a deeper, that will help you get into a deeper friendship with God. Because the more you do, I think we've had this discussion last night, the more you do, the more He's going to do for you. God is completely honest about your faults and feelings. God doesn't expect you to be perfect, thank God. Because if you see me an hour ago, it wouldn't have been nice, wouldn't be pretty. He doesn't insist on complete. He does insist on complete honesty. None of God's friends is in the Bible were perfect. If perfection was a requirement of friendship, God would never been able to be His friend. So the thing right now, it's completely honest. You can't turn around and hide away from something that, hey Rob, that He knows, He sees everything. He records everything. It's just like me right now translating or transcribing what I'm doing. I'm using the book as a guide to show everybody. Last night, stop and freeze for a moment. Last night, both Facebook and YouTube flagged me because we listened to that song last night. But you know, I'm going to war. I may not lose the battle. I may not win the battle. But I might win the war. Because for the simple reason they got me where I set all 3 of my accounts set up as a business account. It's not a private account. So now they're trying to crush me into doing advertisements. And they're thinking I'm going to make money off those advertisements. I'm not. I am not going to do that for the simple reason is this is all free. This thing you don't have to pay for. But they're trying to make me pay or make them so they can make money off of my stuff. You know, the funny thing about it is, I looked at stats for Christ Outreach. Trying to link your website. Yeah, I don't have a website. Well, the stats has gone dramatically crazy on participation over the last 28 days. It's over 4,000%. There's other areas of them that I'm up anywhere on Christ Outreach. Now, my other page, the stats are high, but just a little bit. Hi, Tammy. Glad to be here. I'm glad to see you. The stats is going up. And see, I didn't sign up for a business page. Way back in 2008, 2007, I didn't offer a business page. If I wanted a business page, I got one. I would put one up for whatever business I'm in. They're trying to force me to do things I don't want to do. So I'm going to go to battle with them tomorrow. I'm going to do it every way. Hey, Jackie. I'm going to do it every way possible. Email, text message, phone call. Somebody's going to give me some answers. Because I don't feel they have the right to invasion on my Second Amendment rights. And I told my cousin here, my nephew/nephew, that I'll take it to the White House. And anybody that don't believe me, I will do it. Because you know what? Trump said there was a phone call. You can make a phone call to the White House, and guess what? I'm going to make a call to the White House. Because I am tired of getting today's earlier's devotional. They only allowed me to do 30 shares on YouTube, or I mean on Facebook, when I'm anywhere between 50 and 80. So, anyways, that's what I like it. Never mind, I'll talk to you about that later. Anyways, let's get back to this. So, I'm at war. Wish me luck, pray for me. I've never signed up for a business page. It's always been a private page, and just out of nowhere, they're starting to do it to all my pages. So, we're going to work on that tomorrow morning. His friends, unfortunately, because of God's grace, Jesus is still the friend of sinners. Okay, you know, again, Jesus is the friend of the poor. The ones who are not quite there with them close, but with spiritual guide. He's your spiritual guide. He'll try to teach you and show you the right way to go. In the Bible, the friends of God were honest about their feelings. In the Bible, the friends of God were honest about their feelings and often complaining, second-guessing, accusing, and arguing with their Creator. However, God didn't seem to be bothered by this frankness. In fact, He encouraged it. That's why I said, you can be mad at God, okay? It doesn't mean it's going to change His feeling towards you. God allowed Abraham to challenge him over the destruction of the city of Sodom. Abraham pestered God over what it would take to spare his city, negotiating God down from the 50 righteous people to only 10. God also listened patiently to David and many accusations, unfair betrayal, and abandonment. Well, you don't have to feel that way. If anybody feels that right now, is you have to give it all. You have to give it your all. You can't. You got to take. It takes work. I mean, a lot of work to do to get where you need to be with the Lord. Okay? And I'm not saying if you say a prayer tonight, you're not with the Lord. That's not what I'm saying. But it takes, you want to come up to where, I think it said you want to be God-like. Okay? And there's certain levels that you have to reach, just like anything in a game or in a work. If you're at your job, you still have to meet a certain quota, or if you want to be promoted, you still got to be reached out next spot until you get where you want to be with God and your job and your game or whatever you're doing, whatever you're at right now. God, however, didn't seem to be bothered by this frankness he cast. He encouraged it. See, and then that's the thing. When you have a problem with somebody, who do you talk to?
Certainly not them.
Do you go back and talk to them?
After a minute, yeah.
How successful is it?
About a 50-50.
Okay. At least it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in my life, it was 70-30. And 30 with me, I was like, get away from me. I didn't trust people. I don't trust people, even to this day. Only the ones who, if you get past my doorway, you're a trusted friend. You know that. I told you that. What happened? Somebody betrayed somebody's trust and they got tossed out. Right?
Yep.
That's what God can do. But in God's, you got to be, let him have 90. Well, I'll even that. You give him 99.9 and you take that 0.1%. That's where God wants you to be. You can talk to him. You can argue with him. You can fight with him. But guess what? He's gonna come out the leader on the other end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you can get angry. You can get upset. Same way with people down here. People get angry and they get upset. And then there's feuding starts. And then there's grudges. And then there's hatred. It all wraps up into a negative. So we're trying not, we have to try not to make somebody mad. And if we do, eventually we're going to have to come back and say, whether, I'm going to say this, whether it's our fault or not, because we're supposed to love everybody. We don't have to like them. We're supposed to love. God just explains that to us last night. But it's also, you can talk to them. You can get angry, walk away. Walk away. Do you go out and do your walking? You know how sometimes you do it at night?
Mm-hmm.
Just like when you get around there, somebody may get you upset. I go out the door. I don't hide. Put the hand up, stop. We'll talk about it later. I can, but I don't trust people to be in my house. I don't trust people that comes on my porch, except a certain few. Because I know what y'all thinking. How can you trust? If you don't trust people, how can you trust God? Because I can trust God. I know God what's going to do. Okay? But people, you never know what's going to happen. You can be one side that way, and you know what? I don't need it. Stay away. God also listens patiently to David because of many accusations of unfairness, betrayal, abandonment. God did not slay Jeremiah when he claimed that God had tricked him. God has a sense of humor. And Job allowed him to vent his bitterness during an ordeal. And in the end, God defeated Job, defended Job for his honesty. And he rebuked Job's friends for being inauthentic. I haven't seen that word in a long time. Inauthentic. God will take away. People will come into your life for a season. Meaning it could be 1 minute, 1 second, or 1 hour, 1 month, 3 years, whatever. So if you put that and you think that in perspective, first you got to know God, right? You got to trust God, right? You got to love God, right? And you got to work all of this out. God will do whatever it takes to get your attention. So if there's bitterness during what you're going through at that time, you need just to stop, sit down, pull out a Bible, or sit there in peace, meditate, and talk to God. Whatever you got to do to make it right. Because if we don't make it right, we're not going to see the end prize. What's the end prize? Eternity. Because there's two eternities. Heaven eternity and hell eternity. And I sure want to make sure I go to heaven eternity. Because I don't want to be baked. In the end, God defended Job for being honest and rebuked Job's friends for being inauthentic. God told him, "You haven't been honest either with me about me. Not the way that my friend Job has. My friend's Job will go now pray for you and I will accept your prayer." And see, that's another thing. Developing that. You need to go and start listening to what somebody's telling you, or really pay attention to what's going on in church or wherever you're in your home or watching television. You got to stay focused on what's being said, because if you can be just, hey Mike, sorry. Trying to acknowledge everybody as they come on. My son, I got my new glasses, but anyway. One startling example of frank friendship, God honestly expressed his total disgust with Israel's disobedience and told Moses that he would keep the promise to give the Israelites the promised land. But he wasn't going one step further in the desert. God was fed up. He let Moses know exactly how he felt. And that's what I'm telling you. God will come to you and say, look, that's not what I told you to do. You need to do it this way. Just like I was saying this morning, about me falling in the back there. Alright? That was a warning for me. Don't do it. Find somebody to help, or wait for somebody. That's another thing about me. I don't like to wait. But you know what? I'm learning, and I'm transforming. Because I know my words has changed. I don't say if, I say when. I said try to get it done, or try it, but I'm not going to say never. Never. Because you end up doing it anyways about stuff that happens in your life. So there's a mindset that you have to get the idea. You have to change your mind. You have to develop your mind from a point of a people standard to a point of God's standard. like the point that I was making last night. Last night, I asked my nephew that if God came to you, would you trust him? And he said 50-50. Just like he said a little bit ago. And he said, probably depends on who it is. Well, we can't make that decision by ourselves. That we have to rely on God's decision to help us. Because if we don't, then it's like disobeying God, being disobedient. If you do something, he whispers something in your ear, and you don't do it, you're being disobedient. And then that's going to put a red mark on yourself, on your book up there, what you did and what you didn't do. It's even going to mark a notch on your heart, because he's going to know when we go up there what we did and what we didn't do. So being honest is truth. Being always truthful, and it doesn't matter. You need to be truthful with yourself as well. You need to be truthful with your friends. I've seen truthfully. You got to be truthful with your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend, for that matter. It's whatever. I don't condone being boyfriend. No, I don't condone that. I mean, I condone that. I don't like this. But today is another century has passed on this day. But either way, the point is, we got to be completely honest and patient. So let's go back to the book. God did not slay Jeremiah to vent his bitterness during his ordeal. And in the end, God defended Job for being honest, and he did not rebuke his friend. He rebuked his friends. Job will go no pray for you and accept his prayer. One startling example is that of friendship. Honesty expresses his total disgust with Israel with his disobedience, but he told Moses that would they keep his promise to give the Israelites a promised land. But he wasn't going to go on one more step further until with them in the desert. So it's basically saying he promised the Israelites the promised land. How many times did they walk in? How many years did they walk in the desert? 40 years. Why? You know why? Because of the simple reason they wouldn't do. They would, when Moses went on the mount for the 10 Commandments, what did they do? They created a golden calf. And they worshiped that golden calf instead of God. Okay? People nowadays worship rock stars and TV stars, movie stars. Anything, whatever you can worship. Idolizing him. Don't idolize anything but God. Hey, Mark. So we're only supposed to have one thing above everything else, and that's God. I like a couple TV show or movie actors or whatever, actresses. I've had hey Kathy, good to see you. Hey Cuz. We cannot negotiate our power. We can't say, well, if you do this, I'll do that. It's not going to happen. That's being an anesthetic too. reading where I was at. God was fed up and let Moses let Moses know exactly how he felt. You gotta be able to take the honesty and truth, because if you can't take the honesty and the truth, then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be able to listen to one another without strife. Strife could be a bad thing in a relationship. I know, experienced at that. Not so much this one, but the previous marriage. I have a little strife here once in a while too. Strife is part of life. But we gotta need to be able to realize and know at it, look at it, and make a change. God responded with Moses, speaking as a friend of God, responded with an equal candor. Look, you tell me to lead these people, but you don't let me know whom you're going to send with me. If I'm so special to you, let me in on your plans. And don't forget this, your people. This is your people, your responsibility, and your presence does not take over the lead here. Call this a trip off right now. How else will I know that you're with us in this, with me and your people? Are you traveling with us or not? God said to Moses, all right, just as you say, I will do this, for I know you well and you are special to me. God can handle that kind of frank intensity, honest from you. Absolutely genuine friendship is built on disclosure. It may appear as an audacity God views authenticacy. Sorry. The Lord listened to the passionate words of his friend, and he was bored with the predictable, opinionist cliches. To be God's friend, you must be honest to God, sharing every true feeling and not what you ought to feel or say. It's just like that you need to confess some hidden anger, resentment at God for certain areas of your life. I'll give you a good example. My sister. My sister right next to me, I was talking to her on the way before I got on tonight about my mom's situation. I was adamant, and that saying is an understatement, because my mom's stuff happening with my mom. But, one thing I failed to remember. I was angry. I was upset. How my family is taking care of my mom up there. This one's telling me it's going to go here to her house. This one's going to tell her it's going to go to her house. But my mom right now is in a home she's being abused. I'm down here. I can't do anything for it. My brother, which is her medical power of attorney, and he's the one that sees the bruises and everything on her body. And don't ask correct questions. Of course, I'm going to find out. So what he did is he called my sister and said, this is what's happening. Instead of doing something about it, right then and there, he didn't call anybody. My niece that lives up there in Chicago, my side of the family, She called my youngest sister and she called my middle sister. And that's the type of thing that's gotten me to a point. That's what made me start late. Because I can't understand why people don't do what they're supposed to do. And I'm struggling with that with my family, big time. And sometimes I have struggles here. But you know what? These people here I can go and talk to. Just face to face talk to. But I can't go up to Chicago, drop everything and run to Chicago. I have 4 brothers and sisters up there that can't control what's going on. They can't. There's a conflict. And that doesn't need to be a conflict. Get her out of the place that she's in. She's being abused. You see it. If it was me, I would have been there. I would have been telling them, look, you need to go. Let's go. Because this is unbelievable now. It's going on for a year. The place that she's being in is abusive to the elderly. My aunt died in that same place. They are not good. It don't have a good score if you want to look it up. The highest is a 3. And that's saying something out of 5. That's not good. Don't need to be there. But anyways, that was the last thing that has happened. And like I said, I was furious about what's going on. And I was talking to my sister right next to me, and she's like, what can I do about it? You can go find out and see if there's pictures, or take pictures of her bruises. Well, I live 100 miles away. Well, you know what? I live 1,000 miles away. If I could do it, I would do it. But there was an argument with that. All right, to encouraging to know that God's closest friends, Moses, David, Abraham, and Job, were all had doubts about, instead of masking their misgivings and picturious cliches, they candidly voiced their opinion openly and publicly. Expressing doubt is sometimes the first step in the next level of intimacy with God. Yeah, I can go with that. That's pretty much with any kind of relationship. Our relationships. Yeah, you can do that. And that's the next level. When I tell next level, I'm not talking about just little things. I'm talking major levels. I'm talking about the level of understanding that most people can't even comprehend. Again, so sometimes the first step towards the next level of intimacy is God. With God. It's intimacy with God. Knowing Him. Knowing what He needs. Knowing what He wants us to do. Worship. You name it. Do everything we can. Because He brought you into this world, and I'm going to tell you, He can take you out of this world in a heartbeat. Yeah, we lose people. We lose people because of the fact that something happened and people passed away. But anyway, about my sister. Sorry, I'm going back and forth. She had leukemia a year ago. It was pretty bad. Over the last 5 months, she has her heart fluttering. Or not fluttering. Can't think of it. Let's say fluttering. Where her, I can't think of it right now. I apologize. But anyways, her heart is fluttering. And it was all these side effects, just like my side effects of my strokes. you are seeing them now more than ever. Because when I get upset, this happens. But anyways, my sister, her heart's fluttering. They tried 2 different procedures to get it back in rhythm. And both times they failed. They treated her with medication and it failed. They treated her with electrostatic shock and it failed. Now they have to go in through her arteries and literally go up into the areas to where her heart, what's making her heart do this, and repair it or take it out, one or the other. And I didn't realize we were going words going across each other. And I didn't even stop to realize, I didn't even stop to realize to say, hey, I love you, or hey, what you doing? I didn't even do that. I just jumped into it because what my other brothers and sisters are doing. And I didn't have the courtesy to tell her that I loved her before I just ripped into it. That's something that we gotta stop, because sometimes she's in Indiana and they're in Chicago, and I understand that, okay? But all I really wanted to do was get my point across. And I did something wrong, but at the end of the conversation, we were talking in a normal conversation, and I apologized, and I said I'm sorry but I didn't stop to think about her. You got us going to, and you got things happening now. You really got, especially with God, you got to stop and look. Hey, did God doing this to me? God puts us through stuff just so purposely, and I told her this is the same thing. God, and I know this is the same thing. God puts me through stuff to test me, to test my will on a daily basis. And I told her, you can only give it to God and let God handle it. Well, she said, I'm just tired of it, all this stuff. And I told her, He done it for a reason. You got to find out what the reason for. It may be for you to live longer. At this current rate, God could be using this to slow her down, which she could be very well possible, because she's a Speedy Gonzales too. Just like the TIAs I had. Just like I fell down yesterday and almost broke my ankle. Bust my head open. It could very well happen. Very easily. However, I must choose to obey God in faith. Is the chapter or paragraph chapter or title. Every time you must trust God's wisdom and do whatever He says, even when you don't normally think the obedience as a characteristic of friendship. God's wisdom, He'll give you to whether you want it or not. We don't want to reserve. We don't want to normally think that obedience characteristics of friendship that reserves a relationship from one parent to a boss to a superior officer, not a friend. But however, Jesus made it clear that obedience is a condition of your intimacy with God. He said, your friends are my friends if you don't do what I command. Do what I command you to do. The Last Supper pointed out that the word Jesus was used to call us friends. Could refer to the friend of the king in the royal court, while these close companions had several special privileges in the royal court. God has a plan. He has special things for you and planned. But you got to be waiting patiently. You got to open, be patient, because it just won't do it in your own time frame. It's His. I have friends. Right here, I have a friend. I respect him. We got to be able to come back, and if he's upset with me, or I make him upset, or he makes me upset, one of us or both of us need to come back together and say, I apologize, or I'm sorry. Because if we don't, then it's going to build up, and there'll be animosity towards each other. And that's the same way with your friends. You want to have a good working relationship all the way around. If you don't, then that's on you just as well as on the other person. But whoever started that argument or that fight is the one that's going to have the most regret, most pain. So obedience is part of our relationships. Our relationships. We're not going to go out and do crazy stuff. In the last chapter, I pointed out that Jesus, the word of Jesus, is used when He calls us friends. Could refer friends as the king in the royal court. While these companions have special privileges, they were still subject to the king and had to obey his commands. We are friends with God, but we are not equals. We want to be more like God-like, not to push it to the extreme of, look at me, I'm a king. No. I understand, Lord, I respect that, and I will try and do that as much as possible. Plain and simple. Jesus had His 12 disciples. Well, actually, He had 12 men's disciples. And He had female disciples. I don't know if there was 12 with them or not, but anyways, there had some females. And they walked along. There was a lot of people that followed Jesus around everywhere. So we need to Jesus lead us to where we need to roll with God, but God will always have in contact with us. But Jesus is our leader. However, back to the book. However, Jesus made it clear that obedience is a condition of intimacy with God. He said, you are my friends if you do what I want, I command. I'm going down. But God says we're not equals. He is our loving leader, and we follow Him. We obey not out of duty or out of fear or compulsion, but out of love for Him and trust that He knows that it's what's best for us. We want to follow Christ out in gratitude for all He has done. So there's two different things I'm going to open up with, or go back to. We obey God not in this duty or fear or compulsion because we love Him and trust that. But He also knows what's best for us. We want Christ. We want to follow Christ out of gratitude for what He has done. So in reality here, God wants us really to do it, love Him, just love Him. But we have to follow Christ. Here's the difference. We have to follow Christ because what He paid, He paid His life on the cross and His blood to be spreaded. Where God, the main thing He wants is to be showed that we love Him. Okay? But in Jesus is what Jesus did for us. Follow Christ out of gratitude for what he's done. We all are called follow closer with him, and a deeper friendship becomes. Unbelievers often think Christians obey out of obligation or guilt or fear or punishment. But it's true, but the opposite is true. Because we have been forgiven and set free, we obey out of love, and our obedience brings great joy. Unbelievers, I don't do any of this. I mean, I'm a Christ follower. He's a Christ follower. You're a Christ follower. But the ones that have doubts, I'm going to start doubts. The unbelievers often think Christians are obey out of obligation. That's doubt. Gratitude, Christ's gratitude. Because we have been forgiven and set free, we obey out of love, and our obedience brings great joy. Jesus said, I have loved you even as the Father loved me. I remain in my love, and you will obey me. Remain in my love, just as I obeyed my Father and remain in his love. If Jesus can do it, why can't we? It's kind of obvious. Would you carry a cross? Would you do that? Would you be willing to be a sacrifice? I don't know about you. I'd be willing to carry my cross. Some of us carry our crosses every day. Or maybe not all of us. All of us. If we carry a cross, it's going to be kind of heavy, and it's going to weigh us down. And then that's why we go to God and say, God, please take the weight off me. Help me get through this. You say that to Jesus. Jesus already been there, done that. We should be following him and thanking him for everything he did. Side note, the more you become God's friend, you will care more about things that he cares about. Because I'm going to read that again. This is a point that would like for you to write down, put it everywhere. You can read a book out of a Bible. The more you become God's friend, the more you'll care about things that he cares about. What do you think he cares about? Us? What do you think he cares about? What we should care about?
Cares about everything.
We have gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be all taken in a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's back there?
Julian and them just got back.
Oh. Okay, I keep hearing people walking back behind us. I must desire friendship with God more than anything else. The Psalms are filled with examples of this desire. David passionately desires to know God above all else. Longing for the yearning, thirst, hungering, he craved God and said, the things I seek most about is the privileges of meditating in his temple. We should take into effect that he allows us to breathe. He gets us up every morning. We wake up every morning. We go to bed every night. He puts food on our tables. That's the things he likes. He likes us to do that. He likes music, for God's sakes. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's pleasing to his ears. When we pray, it's pleasing to his ears. We need to love more as a family, as a body, including out there. I mean, way out there. Here we go. There's the devil. Did you notice? You got quiet last night.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that? I will not let you go unless you bless me. The amazing part of that story is that God, who is all powerful, Jacob let him win. God isn't offended by when we wrestle with him, because wrestling requires personal contact and bring us closer to him. God can be offended. Isn't offended, but I bet he could be offended by how we react to certain things. I mean, there's things that where he would be terribly disappointed in us. Oh Lord, please shut the animal up. Is God offended when we wrestle? He calls it wrestling. It's also personal activity that God, when we are passionate with him. He wants to be passionate. He wants us to be passionate with him, like I am. Because I want to do this. I don't want to let this go. And my greatest fear is right now is my health. And I believe he wants me to do this. I know he wants me to do this. But what the scariest part about it is to me is I have to stop. And I don't want to stop. I want to get better. And I'll tell you, it depends on how my day goes, how my night rolls. And you're seeing some effects of when I get upset and get mad because I space out. And then that's not good. That's not good. To me, I'm failing you guys when I'm like this. And I shouldn't let things get to me, but it's my mother. Everybody just goes off into wild blue yonder and just don't care. Paul was another passionate friend, had for friendship with God. Nothing mattered more than the first priority, total focus, and ultimate goal of his life. This is the reason why God used Paul in such. In a great way. The Amplified Translation expresses, this is a verse out of the Bible. Amplified Translation expresses that the full force of Paul's passion. My determined person is that I may know him, and that progressively become more deeply intimate with and acquainted with him, perceiving the recognizing and understanding of the wonders of his person, and strongly and more clearly. That was Paul's passion towards Christ, towards God. So that right there is what we need to be looking at every day, and understanding that how we act, how we go according to our day, God's going to look at it and find out whether it's the right thing or the bad thing. Yeah, keep an eye out. Intimate friendship. All right. The truth is, you're as close as God as you choose to be. Okay, that's right. Wherever you choose is where you're at. That's something that just blew my mind. Yes, I read this book before, but I didn't pay attention to it like I should have. And now, again, like I said, this was my original book because I highlighted stuff in the book. But that was then, now is now, and it's a lot different. The truth is, you're closer to God as you choose to be. Intimate friendship with God is a choice, not an accident. You must intentionally seek it. Do you really want it more than anything else? Yes, I do. I can say that honestly. What is worse? That was funny. Wow. I didn't see a dog. That was their dog, right?
Theirs and then theirs.
Wow, that's crazy.
One
We
was
must-
trying to go in.
We must intentionally seek it. Do you really want it? Is it more than anything? Yes, and yes, and from my eyes. And I hope that you're saying yes from your eyes, and your ears, and your hearing. You may have been passionate about God in the past, but you've lost your desire. Oh my, this is where it's all coming together. Because I've been saying this same thing. You may have been passionate about God in the past, but you've lost the desire. The problem of the Christians in Ephesus, that they had left their first love, and they did all right things, but the duty, not the love, but just going through and doing the motions. And see, that's what a lot of people do today. Are you doing that? If you're doing that, stop. You're making yourself to be a liar, a cheater. If you got in there and see that right there, that right there is when I first started doing the sermons and the passages I'd be sending you. I was passionate for God at the time when I was doing the videos. But I got lost in that desire. It was my desire, not his desire. And that's the thing that I'm trying to pull out. The problem is, because of the Christians in Ephesus, they had left their first, and I see, and that's what I'm saying. I left my first love. I put my love for God aside to do what I wanted to do and not what he wanted me to do. And see, and that's when he knocked me upside the head and said, stop. Go do something else for a while. And then come back to me. That's his form of punishment. Because I always loved to do it. Back in 2019, 2020, 2021. But the thing is, I didn't follow it. I was doing it out of me. They did all right. They did but the duty and the love, and not do the duty, not for love. Exact same thing. You've just been going through the motions spiritually. That's what I did. Don't be surprised when God pains your life. And he did. Not just then. Not just 2 years ago. But today, this week, I mean, this whole paragraph right here is so important. You probably have lived this at some point. And you don't know why it happened, but it happened. It was one of those things that just went the wrong way, went sideways. When people talk about the stuff that's going sideways, are they talking about this? Are we talking about this? Or have you done something that you got paid for? Are you going through something right now? If you are, ask God what you can do to fix it. Because I told you, every time I look at a chapter, read a chapter, I find something that applies to me as well as everyone else in this world. But I really take it seriously because I was doing what he asked me to do. And then it all changed. I see it in my life now. Things I've done, and it's not that I've fallen out of love or not out of desire. It's just I'm going to the left a little bit. It's not like I'm going right off. I'm going to the left, and I have to catch myself and pull myself back on. Get on the right path. Follow through. Listening again. Not just hearing, but listening. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is like he's hearing me. But the question is he listening to me? Because if I'm not listening, if he's not listening to me, what's the point of him even being here? Right? Right? You want producer, but you could have very well left. That's the way it is with God. God will do anything for you, but when you go to the left and you're not doing what he's wanting you to do, that's totally on you. And we need to find out how we can do that. Who is that?
Edwin. And Jolene. Jolene just went inside.
Okay. The pain fuels the passion. It energizes us with intense change to, see, just like I said, energizes us with intense change that we won't normally possess. And just like when I'm with my sister, I realized I was doing wrong. I keep reading. C.S. Lewis said, pain is God's megaphone. It's God's way of arousing us from the spiritual lethargy. Your problems are not punishment, they're wake-up calls from...
Lethargy.
I'm being serious now. Did you hear any of that last chapter?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear what the last part of this? It's God's... Oh, where did it go? C.S. Lewis said that pain is God's megaphone and God's way of arousing us from spiritual lethargy. Your problems are not punishment, they are wake-up calls from a loving God. God is not mad at you. He's just giving you the slap upside the head. Bing! That's thump in the forehead. However you want to make it out to be. It's... Do me a favor, go in there and get me, please, I'm sorry, a yellow highlighter in there. He will do whatever it takes. Here. He's not mad at you. He'll do whatever it takes to bring you back to fellowship with him. And I've been saying that. I bet you I said that at least twice in every sermon and every devotion that I did in the last 5 or 6 months. It's one of those things that it just stuck me. He will do every what it takes to bring you fellowship and back in fellowship with him. But there's an easier way to reignite your passion with God, and that is to start asking God to forgive you, to give it to you, and keep on asking until you have it. Prayer throughout your day. Dear Jesus, more than anything else, I want to get to know you and me intimately. God told the captives of Babylon, when you get serious about finding me and want it more than anything else, then I'll make sure you won't be disappointed. It's interesting. The most important relationship, there's nothing, absolutely nothing more important than to develop in a relationship with God. It's the relationship that will last forever. Paul told Timothy, some of these people have missed their most important thing in life. Have you missed your most important thing in life? Seriously. Never mind, don't worry about it. You can't find it out. I got it. It's the last page. That's all I really know. I got it. I thought I had one in that box on the table. But if you didn't see it, then probably not there.
Either that or I'm blind.
Yes, girl. I got you, Sandra. Nice for us to join us. I'm going to go for you and for you. I'm going to read. You got to listen to this, okay? Please. Okay. And my sis down there, I need you to listen to this, okay? Because this is a lot of the stuff that we're bypassing, okay? I'm going to read that last two paragraphs. And again, you may have been passionate about God in the past. You lost your desire. There was a problem with the Christian ephesus. Find out what that word is. On Google. There's a phone right there ready, dude.
I know. My phone was already open.
They have left their first love. Meaning, that word it's some kind of a group. Ephesus. Ephesus? Sorry. They had left their first love. Meaning, God. They did all the things right, but the duty, but not love. If it's just been going through your motions, if you've just been going through the motions spiritually, don't be surprised when God allows pain in your life. The pain is fueled by passion. It energizes us with intensity, to change that we don't processes. We don't normally process. C.S. Lewis said that pain is God's megaphone. What'd you find out about it?
Ephesus.
Say it again?
Ephesus.
Ephesus. Then I had it right. It just my tongue got tied. Ephesus. It's God's way of arousing us from spiritual lethargy. Your problems are not punishment, but they're wake-up calls from a loving God. God is not mad at you He's not mad at you. He's mad about you. He will do whatever it takes to bring you back into fellowship with Him. But there's an easier way to reignite your passion for God, and that is to start asking God to give it to you, and keep asking it until you have it. Pray throughout your day, dear Jesus, more than anything else, I want to get to know you intimately. God told the captives of Babylon, when you get serious about finding me and want more than anything else, then I'll make sure that you won't be disappointed. The most important relationship, there's nothing there's nothing absolute matching, sorry. Let me slow down. I'm getting excited. Got excited. Your most importantly, relationship. There's nothing, absolutely nothing more important than developing a friendship with God. It's a relationship that will last forever, told Paul. Some of these people may have missed their opportunities in life. Important things in their life. That's what I was trying to tell you yesterday. Some of the most important things in your life you just might walk by or not even see. That you got to have your eyes wide open. And that's what we need. We need to keep walking with our eyes wide open, because it might have been just there at that time. Where I failed today with my sister. I had blinders on. I wanted to get my point across to her, and she was confused, and she got disrupted, but I didn't even think about her pain that she's going through. I just ripped into her, and she didn't understand. And I didn't see it until afterwards. Just like I did to you, Sandra. Forgive me, Lord, please forgive me. I did it not to both. Not just one person, I did. I'm sorry. Things that when you realize you do something like that, in my heart it breaks. I broke. And I did that to my wife a couple weeks ago. And we finally talked about it today. I'm not perfect, see? I'm far from being perfect. But when I realize it, it just punches me in the face. We need to be more observant. Be more like God. He's not mad at me. I'm mad at me. I'm taking it out on myself because I knew I did something wrong. You gotta get it out, y'all. Mm. I know you have empathy. I can't read right now at the moment. Thank you. I'm sorry that happened. No, I'm not. I'm glad it happened. Because it showed me what I did wrong. Twice. In one day. In less than an hour. Okay. Some of these people have missed an important thing in their life. And they don't know God. I know God. I did. I went against God. I went against Jesus. I went through the Holy Spirit and let the devil take over. And that's where we can't let do. That's why we have the Trinity, to keep us from doing that. Oh, God forgive me. Have you been missing out on the most important thing? Turn the light on, please. Have you been missing out on the most important things in your life? No, it's not that I've been missed out. I don't stop. I don't think. I just do. And it hurts other people's feelings. Breaks their heart. It could do a lot. You can cut people, you can take words and cut people deep. Trust me, I know. You can cut it into the soul. Because I had it happen to me in the last 2 weeks. It's something I learned. See, we just need to make sure we're trying to do our best. Always. And asking for help. I didn't ask for help. Both times. All 3 times. I just tore it up. That's where I can get. I can do this to other people. If I can do it to myself, I can definitely do it to other people. And all my life, I've been like that. I can rip somebody's heart out of their chest and hand it to them. And sometimes I don't even mean it. How have you been missing out on some of the most important things in your life? Can you do something about it, starting about it now? Remember, it's your choice. Remember, it's your choice. It's your choice. And I apologize, Sandra. I'm sorry. And if Bonnie, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I wouldn't like that done to me. I love you guys. I love you all. And I wouldn't want to do that to anybody out there. But even I learned. You say, remember, it's your choice. It's your choice to love. It's your choice to hate. It's your choice to be prideful. It's your choice to love God, follow God. Your choice to follow Jesus. It's your choice. You want to make the right choices. All the way up through your life. It doesn't matter whether you're 17 or 60. That's wow. I told you when I started this was going to be that butt kicker. You kicked my butt. Tap me, thump me on the forehead too. Slap me upside my head. Day 12. Thinking about my purpose. Point to ponder. As close as I am to God, am I closest to God that I choose to be? No, I can be closer. I make mistakes just like everybody else does. Nobody's perfect. Verse to remember, draw close to the end, draw close to God, and God will draw close to you. That's James 4:8. Chapter 4, verse 8. Well, the question is considered. Question of consider. What practical choices I will make today to grow closer to God? You need to go? If you do go, it's up to you. I love you. I love you. See you tomorrow. I'll be at 1 and then at 6, like today. What practical choices that I will make today in order to grow closer to God? Well, you seen what happened to me. Realize I gotta stop more and realize what I'm doing to other people. Would I do that? Would I do that to God? What I did to my sister? Would I do that to God? I want to do that to Jesus. And see, sometimes we don't think about what we're doing. I mean, really. Words will cut sharper than any sharp knife. You can get the sharpest sword, and words can cut deeper. You can cut into your soul, and when they cut into your soul, they're hard to forget. And it's just. I'm going to say a prayer. I love you guys. God loves you. I love you too. I'm okay. It just put me in, just gave me a check. I just got slammed with my own stuff. You have a blessed night. You have a blessed rest of your week. I'll see you tomorrow sometime. I'll see you at 1. I'm going to try to do it 1 and 6. It depends. It depends on. I've been trying to get stable with these devotionals. I really think that I really hope that you got something out of this one, because I harmed my best friend. Not intentionally, but think before you strike. This was a eye-opener. Thank you for joining me. I hope you join me tomorrow at 1, between 1 and 1:30, and then 6, between 6 and 6:30. God loves you. So do I. And have a blessed night. Oh, wait. I gotta say, wait. I got a prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for breaking my eyes up, making my eyes wide open. seeing my faults, helping me see what I need to do to make myself much better as a person and closer to you. I apologize to my family. I apologize for not doing the right thing at that time, Lord. Help other people that we see that are hearing me by my words not to do the same mistake that I did. I know you're with me and I know you're here, but help me guide them in doing things that we need to do to respect you and love you and take care of you. Let's take care of those who's hurting, who's in strife, who don't know who you are and what you're all about. Let's bring them closer to us, Lord. Help us, Lord, to be much stronger in you. I want to be your best friend. And being your best friend, you can do anything. You can tell me anything. And I trust you, Lord. We got to learn how to trust you. To work on everything, it takes work. It's not an easy route. We got to believe. We got to trust. We got to be honest. We got to be faithful to our friends, our family, and especially you, God. And Jesus, thank you for, again, having me able to do this and see what my own mistakes are, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I love you guys. I love all you out there who's on there. And who's not on there too, so I will see you tomorrow. I'm good. I'll be good. It's the hardest thing. One of the hardest things is to admit your own hard, cruel mistake. It wasn't done deliberately, I know that. But the point is, it's to the point where it gets deep. And I know I'm not perfect. I'm far from being perfect. And I'm not a Christian. I'm a Christ follower. And it takes time to really to realize sometimes it's just a cold heart, right punch to the head and knock you out event. Alrighty, I'll let you go. I love you. We'll see you tomorrow.